those ahead in the championship points to fail. But right at the start of the race, it was a pole position. Raffaele Marciello leading away from Alessio Rivera, and he kept on working his way through. The Ferraris gave chase. Charles Arangis, the best of the South African racers in the 86 Stradale Motorsport Lamborghini, wheeled into the pits. It came back out. The Audis were running fourth and fifth behind the Ferraris, not able to live with them, and it was a chance for Winkelhock to be waved by Matteo Drudi to see what he could do. He couldn't catch them. Then it was the turn of Sun Energy One Racing, pushed on very hard by Michael Grenier. At the end of the opening hour, two of the local runners withdrew. They were only doing the first hour, and that was Silvio Scribante just beating Michael Pitamba. And then at the first round of pit stops, it was the Ferraris driving all the way through the pit lane, not stopping for anything at all. And they would do their first pit stop a little later. It was a tactic other teams would use: reset your clock. You can't do more than 65 minutes in a stint. So you come through, start another stint. And then, unfortunately, as they were trying to press on, Lucas Legere pulled across there on Côme Ledogar. Afterwards, Côme not too happy at all, but fortunately, no punctures. And then when the pit stops were served, those first proper pit stops for the Ferraris, 51 was just in front of 71, even though their teammates, they were fighting for position. And of course, Ferrari had split its drivers, following the example of Audi, putting their championship challengers in both of their cars. And on this occasion, it was the 71 car sweeping around the outside. Turn 2, such a difficult corner, and some cars picking up time penalties from running over the outside lines of the circuit down there. But it was mainly turn 16 where the drivers were getting punished, and these two cars, the Santalot Racing Audi and the Sun Energy One Mercedes up in front, would serve drive-through penalties for being very soon to exceed the number of times they could drive out beyond the corner of the circuit at turn 16. Now, of course, the Ferraris were out of sync with the race-leading AKKA ASP Mercedes, and at various points they had their chance at the lead of the field, with Antonio Fuoco impressing. But then there was a problem. The only GT4 class car in the race pulled to a halt right at pit entry. That meant pit lane was closed. Then as soon as it was opened under full course yellow, the Mercedes drove the whole way through and did exactly as the Ferraris had done and did a reset. Then at the restart, off it went, powering down towards sunset with Raffaele Marciello at the wheel. But behind him, Matteo Drudi, brought in place of Dries van Tor, who was ill this weekend, was side by side with Alessandro Pier, but the Ferrari driver wasn't taking no for an answer. They shoulder to shoulder, they clashed, on they went, and third place became second for the Ferrari driver, and the reverse direction for Matteo Drudi, who immediately had to look into his mirrors for what? Another Ferrari right behind. This was Nicholas Nielsen, and he had a look one way and another and forced a late braking manoeuvre, too late braking there for Matteo Drudi, so he dropped behind, but he wasn't prepared to stay there for long. Tucked in behind the Ferrari, comes up to the top of the hill at Barbecue, and then sprinted clear, and then the 71 Ferrari just suddenly came to a halt. Race over and out for Nicholas Nielsen. So sad. That meant Ferrari had just one car left, but it was running in second place overall against, and there actually moving just in front as it came out from its pit stop, of Timo Bogoslawski's Mercedes. But Bogoslawski had more speed, took the lead back into turn 2, and then pulled away and built up a bit of an advantage. Not many seconds, but he had some risks in overtaking. That's going past the Stradale into Africa Lamborghini, and they're bouncing over the curbs to go past the GT4 Audi, pressing on, keeping Côme Ledogar behind, lights flashing from the French driver to make sure the Audi driver in front had seen, but a really, really good second stint in particular from Timo Bogoslawski. The battle of the Audis really intense. Third place after the 71 Ferrari had withdrawn, but the 25 and 32 cars were seldom more than about 5 seconds apart. Fighting hard, nothing they could do about the Ferrari in second place and the race-leading AKKA ASP Mercedes. Kelvin van der Linde not prepared to lose a single fraction of a second in his battle to stay in front of the Audi battle. And then, unfortunately, Sun Energy won as darkness started to fall. Their Mercedes in the pits needed a new radiator. That dropped it down to second place in the Pro-Am battle. But all along, the AKKA ASP Mercedes stretching its leg in the front. The 26 Silver Cup entered car from Santalot had lots of problems at pit stops. The car came in fine, but then wouldn't restart, constantly having to be pushed back into the garage. It would end up 5th place overall. But among the top 4, it was all about the 89 Mercedes. Jules Gounon really powering on very well indeed. Just looking to see if the Ferrari would catch him up a little bit, but the 51 car always about 15 seconds or so behind. But that 51 car with Pier Guidi doing the final stint didn't need to win. Second place would be absolutely enough. As long as the Audis were behind, and they still were, that was enough for the title. Race victory here, going for the first time in the 2021 series to this crew. Timo Bogoslawski, Raffaele Marcello and Jules Gounon, who took it to the finish. But lights are flashing away from Alessandro Pier Guidi. Second place, absolutely enough to win the title. And for Combe Ledogar, happiness. For Nicholas Nielsen, what could have been? He shared the first two races with them. But this year, it's all about AF Corsa and Ferrari, and we're already looking forward to 22 in the